Okay, Madam Ward.
Welcome everyone. The Mayor will allow a maximum of 15 minutes for members of the council to receive questions from registered electors for the town before the formal meeting commences. Do we have any questions from the public? Possibly not. I think not. So we could carry on straight onto the agenda. Item 1, apologies for absence.
Apologies received from councillors Hook, Irwin and Saunders.
Thank you. Declarations of pecuniary and non-pecuniary interests. Members who have an interest to declare must declare the existence and nature of it at the start of the meeting. Councillor Martin.
Thank you. The land at Perry Court, London Road, Faversham, I'm afraid, as it's adjacent to the Abbey School, I have a pecuniary interest that is disclosable, so I will leave the meeting at that point.
Thank you. No others. That's good. Item 3, to receive and accept as a true record the minutes of the Town Council planning held on the 17th of May. I've got no paper copy, quite short. Are we happy with those? Councillor Martin? Yes, I'm happy to second those. Can we all vote? Thank you. The schedule. Planning schedule, 17th of May. I've looked through, it all looked fine to me. Have I got a proposer to accept those? Councillor Martin, a seconder?
It needs to be somebody who was present.
There. I was there. So,
Thank you.
Yeah. And can we vote on those then? Thank you. And we are on to planning applications for this evening. 2150, 2522 TCA. Conservation area notification. 3132 to crown reduced bay and holly trees by 1.5 metre radially, leaving a single 4 metre crown in rear garden for maintenance. Oh, I haven't got Councillor Williams here tonight. Thank you, Councillor Perkins.
Okay, I was just going to suggest that we pose no objection. I think it's sensible tree conservation.
Absolutely, I would second that. Can we vote on that? Thank you. 2150, 2532. Oh, is that right? Is that too many numbers or is that me?
It is. Hold on, I can check it. Do you want to go on to the next one and I'll check that one?
Yeah, I will. 2150, 2524 TCA, 1 Davington Cottages, Stonebridge Cottage, Davington Hill. Conservation area notification to reduce height of 1 magnolia tree from 10 metres to no less than 8 metres and reduce radial spread from 5.5 metre to no less than 4 when measured from the trunk. Councillor Martin.
I was going to say I propose no objection. This seems like reasonable work to that particular tree. I think I just got in before Councillor Perkins.
You did, you did. So can I have a seconder for that, please? Councillor Perkins. And can we all vote on that?
Letting in Councillor Williams. If we go back to 8 Noble Court, the number is 21-502523.
So there's a 3 in there that shouldn't be. Okay. It's a conservation area notification, horse chestnut tree. The lower limbs are nearly touching the house. Proposed work is to reduce the lower limbs to provide 3.5 metre clearance from the house. All cuts will be made to suitable growth points. Councillor Martin.
Thank you. Sorry, I've just had a message come through. Councillor Henderson sends his apologies. He's only just come out of hospital having a battered leg dealt with. So he sends his apologies. I do apologise for that.
Thank you.
No, thank you for that, though. I'm pleased he's been and actually had it looked at, because he really damaged that leg. Right. So, have we got no objection to this one? The horse chestnut?
Councillor
Councillor Williams.
Sorry for my lateness, Madam Mayor. My computer decided to update as I logged on, which isn't helpful. So which number are we on?
We're on 8 Nobel Court.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, conservation area, horse chestnut tree.
I'm happy to comment if anyone, unless anyone else wants to. I think this is quite a simple one. I don't think we should object. I think there's no objection. It seems a suitable course of history.
Great, thank you. I would second that. Can we all vote on that? Right, now we're down to 2150, 2539 TCA, 31 Ospringe Road, conservation area, and notification to coppice 1 bay tree. Again, Councillor Williams, do you wish to comment?
Yeah. I think, again, I don't think there's anything to object to. It needs pruning, so I'd propose no objection.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Perkin, and can we all vote? Thank you. 2150, 2798 TCA, Abbey Farmhouse, Abbey Road, conservation area notification, remove 4 small black walnut, remove rubbing branch from 2 walnuts, remove lowest branch from black walnut overshadowing the oak. Again, Councillor Williams, have you? Yes.
I'm happy to. No.
If you could start off.
Yeah. I think the work that they've suggested in terms of pruning seems reasonable. My only concern is there's no reason given to fell. As far as I could see, there's no reason given to fell the other trees, and I tried to have a look. It's difficult to see the tree. Well, you can see the trees, but you know, if there's any obvious kind of up close kind of disease or anything. So my suggestion is that we object based on the lack of information. That would be my proposal, unless anyone else would prefer to counter that, but that would be my proposal.
Thank you. Do we have any other comments? Do we have a seconder for that proposal? Councillor Perkin, could we all vote on that? Chair. 2150, 2913 TCA, St Mary of Charity Primary School, Orchard Place, conservation area notification to coppice 8 elders. Councillor Williams.
Very tree heavy one, this one.
Yeah.
I think I would propose no objection. I think it seems quite radical, but orders coppice well. There's obviously dead trees in there, and I think part of what they need to do. I think, like I should have mentioned on others, I think as long as they don't do it at the wrong time of the year, or they don't do it in the nesting season, then I think there's no reason for us to object. So I propose no objection.
Thank you, and we could add that comment. Second, Councillor Rowland. You're seconding that, thank you. Can we all vote on that? Yeah. And then land at Perry Court, London Road. Councillor Martin, did you want to leave?
I will leave. Thank you. Somebody lets me know when you're back.
Oh, I hope someone else can do that. I'm not good with that technology. 2050 1715 full land at Perry Court, London Road, erection of 45 residential dwellings, including associated landscaping, access and infrastructure. And these are the revised details. And Councillor Williams.
I'm sorry, because I missed the beginning of the meeting. I just need to declare non-pecuniary interest as per previous meeting related to education, because my business is based at the school grounds.
Right, that's two, Martin and Williams. Councillor Perkin.
I've only briefly looked over the revised details for this, but I had a look at it and I don't see a huge amount of difference from the last time that it came to the town council. Adrian, I don't know if you can help, sorry, Deputy Town Clerk, I don't know if you can help with, do you know whether the Environment Agency have come back with their review on what they were asking them to do from last time? I know we objected on their grounds that hadn't been done right, and they'd objected to it.
You can check that in the morning.
Yeah.
I just, from my point of view, I think I know that it's quite a good site for affordable housing, and obviously that's something that we're quite committed to being supportive of. So I can understand the kind of upside of that, but I still have concerns personally about the fact that I haven't had a bit of paper in front of me saying the Environment Agency are okay with it. And I think that before we should vote through anything, really, we should make sure that there's not going to be anything the Environment Agency are worrying about, especially in terms of kind of water pollution. So
the Environment Agency submitted something on the 27th of May.
I think we have had back from them, haven't we?
Thank you. The Environment Agency said, thank you for your consultation. Please know that our previous comments still apply.
Yeah, so there's still concerns there, isn't there? And they haven't been adequately addressed. So my concern really still holds from the last time that we objected to it. In terms of the kind of other elements that we raised before, I think that the affordable housing is important, but I think that if we've already objected to it on the grounds that the Environment Agency still haven't had the mitigation that they're expecting, that's probably still relevant. And I'd like to know a little bit more about what they're going to do to solve that before saying no objection to it. So at the minute, I'm probably still in the objection camp, but I'm not sure whether anyone has any other concerns or other comments.
Councillor Williams.
Thank you.
I don't. Oh, you can talk.
Speak. But yeah,
yeah, okay.
Thank you. I'm in a similar mind. I'm not satisfied that they've kind of come back with anything substantial that kind of says, right, that's answered those questions. There's still concerns I've seen around what they're doing to mitigate biodiversity loss or to create biodiversity net gain, which they should be doing. There was concerns around the connectivity and other soil related problem, degradation, etc. So there's a number of things that have come through from different reports that still there's been no major sort of improvement in what we saw last time. And my personal feeling would be that we should object this time again, but based on our previous concerns, because I don't think any of them have really changed that dramatically.
So unless anyone has any other comment, Councillor Perkin proposes object, Councillor William seconds that, and the rest.
Comment, all the previous objections really stand, don't they?
I think so, yeah. I think from my point of view, I think that for that to be the comment on it, I think, because there's elements of the development which are actually quite positive, but I think the previous comments that we've made still stand, so we can't really change our minds without them being addressed.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, are we all happy to vote that? Oh, Councillor Rowlands, did you wish to come in?
Sorry, can I just say quickly, can Councillor Williams second it with a non-pecuniary interest?
I can't hear you, Josh.
Oh, yes, of course,
Oh.
yes. Councillor Rowlands is seconding Councillor Perkin because Councillor Williams can't vote. So the rest of us can vote now.
I thought I was on. I thought I could vote. I thought.
But can you? I
advice
don't,
of
if you've got a
before, so-
pecuniary interest, are you?
Hold on.
I mean,
Well, we go with the way we are. Councillor Perkin.
well, if we can't clarify that, I'll abstain.
Yeah.
Just for,
I think you just need to sign. Yeah. I think you can vote, but it's unanimous anyway, isn't it?
yeah, for the record, I'll abstain just for that.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Oh, this one. 2150, 2545 full, Railway Depot Station Road, residential development comprising of 45 units with associated parking and amenity areas. I think, has anyone got comments on this one? No?
Councillor Perkin.
Councillor Perkin, thank you.
Thank you. So obviously we've been following this application quite closely, haven't we? It's changed quite a bit over the last year or so, and it's also we've had presentations from the developer, and also I think there's been quite a bit of communication between the developer and the residents, especially around Beaumont Terrace and the Preston Mart houses.
Yeah.
I think there's elements of the development that are really positive. I'll wait for Councillor Martin to come back. Oh, there he is. So I think there's elements of it that are really positive in that it's brownfield site. They have reduced the height of the first building because of the concern from the people in Beaumont Terrace that it was going to be overlooking them. It's obviously close to the train station. It's 1 and 2 bedroom apartments, which the town kind of needs. So there are elements that I find quite positive in terms of looking at developing that area. Now, the concern that I have is that the residents have pointed out that that road is still quite narrow, so the access in and out of that particular development is still an issue, especially if you live in the Preston Mart houses, because the wall is literally like 2 meters away from the edge of that road there. And I've spoken to a couple of residents from there this week that have raised that as a concern. So I think we should probably flag that with Swellborough Council. Also, I still think there's quite a large amount of parking compared to the amount of flats that there are. I think 45 flats, about 56, I think it's 51, 56 parking spaces. So I know in previous applications as well that Kent County Council have been a bit concerned about the access onto the road there. So I think there's still concerns there, but I think there's also it's quite a positive development in terms of not building on Greenfield site, in terms of its connectivity to the train station and to the Jubilee Way. So I think at this point, I'm not really sure, and I'd like to hear from other people that are from other wards about their views on it too, because I'm minded to say no objection, but with the caveat that there's some conversation done with the Preston Mart House residents about their concerns around the road there, and potentially asking Swell if they'll go and do a site visit with the councillors from the Borough Council. I know I can't do that in this meeting, but I think it would be advantageous for them to see where it is. But overall, I think it's a reasonably well thought out development. That's my 2 pence worth anyway.
Thank you. Have you got the letter? You've got a letter from Mr. David Thomas, who's 16 Preston Malt House. Have you all seen a copy of that? Yeah. I
haven't.
He said, having had a couple of very agreeable meetings with Josh Wilson and looking at the application, I would be more than happy for this application to be approved. It's a vast improvement on the original application and on the existing landscape. Yeah, he said, I'm particularly pleased about the proposed removal of the trees lining Beaumont Terrace and to the rear of Preston Malthouse. They are overgrown, diseased, poor quality trees that are completely covered with ivy. These trees have almost completely taken away natural day and sunlight from the front of my house over the last few years, and now so tall they're reducing sunlight to the back garden. The replacement planting looks fine as long as the new planting uses trees that are of a reasonable ultimate height and that the landscaping is maintained to prevent a return to the present state of affairs. So he seems quite, positive, having met, as you say, with the developer. But then there's another letter. Have you seen from Karen Ward for Beaumont Terrace? Have we seen that? Yeah, you've seen that as well. She's not so. I think she would like a site visit, so maybe that's a possibility. Are there any other comments? Councillor Williams?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think improvements have been made from previous times we've talked about this application, and in fact I think on the whole it's not a bad application, and I do feel like the developer is willing to work with the residents nearby. I think have dialogue at least. I think the major concern that I've heard from residents, although it's a bit of a mixed one, so they're not quite as concerned as they once were, because they've seen some mitigation in terms of hedging's been put on the back of their properties, is that about the road. And I think it may be that it's just there's lack of clarity, because it's really hard to see on the plans and the information actually the full extent of what that road, how that road's going to be used, but also where the hedging is and how high it's going to be and all these sorts of things. And I think it may be that actually those things have been thought about and they can talk to the residents about, but we just aren't seeing it so clearly. So I would sort of I find it hard to kind of get in my mind about objecting to something that wasn't really clear that they're actually causing a problem with. And my couple of other things I pulled out. I mean, I know there's quite an extensive range of points that the police have made about surveillance security. I think it's important that they adhere to those, particularly with the fact that it is so close to the back of those properties on Preston Malthouse and the railway line, of course. I'm a bit disappointed there's no EV charge points or solar panels on the buildings, considering they're designing it for modern living and for people to cycle and walk. It would have been good to see that as a kind of as an addition, but clearly that's not reason to object. I think the biodiversity and landscaping is quite good. So I mean, my personal opinion would probably be no objection, but the points that Councillor Perkin made is really good, that they have that dialogue between Swale, Borough Council, the residents and the developer to make sure those extra concerns are met. That would be my feeling.
Thank you. Any other comments? Councillor Perkin.
I'm happy to second no objection if Councillor Williams is
Thank you.
forward with the caveat that with those things that are in there. That's good.
Yeah, quite. Yes, I mean the Karen Ward, you know, she does mention the issue with traffic at the top of St Mary's Road. So perhaps if they go and just talk to them a little more, that would be good. Okay, so can we all vote on that then? Are we happy with that? Thank you. (2150 1283) full 4 Lancefield Drive, retrospective application for moving fence around the carport from the right hand side to the front of the carport, therefore enclosing it really. Any comments at all? Just means it can't be used as a carport, can it? It's obviously blocked at the front now, not at the side. Councillor Perkin.
I was just going to say we're getting quite a lot of retrospective
Yeah.
applications around carports,
I know.
and I don't know whether that's worth a conversation with somebody about how people should be applying for planning application before they actually do the work. That's the only comment I've got on it, really. I don't think we can object about it, but
No.
this is what the fourth meeting that we've had, retrospective carport stuff.
Yes. Councillor Williams.
I agree. It's frustrating because it's kind of basically making the whole point of putting in planning permission kind of pointless. Well, not pointless, but kind of assuming that it's going to ride through because they've already done the work. I mean, we had an application similar to this a little while ago where we objected.
Oh yeah.
And in fact, I represented the town council at Swale planning about this same sort of very, very similar kind of application. I personally think we should object because I think there's two things. I think one, you know, the retrospective element of it, I think, is something we shouldn't encourage, of course, but I think also that the fact that the reasons we objected to the last one really still stand for this one, because you've got a new development that have created carports for the pure reason to have cars within the property, and setting the precedence for them to kind of push the cars and potentially into using the road space is only going to cause more problems with the development. I noticed there's comments in the application from resident about, there's potential problems with larger vehicles and blocking the pavement. So I think to be consistent with how we feel about this, my personal thing is that we should object on this occasion.
Any other comments? Councillor Martin.
Yeah, I got the impression that the sales team on this development are actually saying to people, well, you're blocking the carport and you get a bigger garden, and they're trying to use one from the other. So I do agree with the objection. I think there's a traffic management plan and parking plan for that particular site that was agreed at outline stage and in detail, and that is now being wrecked, for want of a better way of putting it, by these people moving bits of fence. Although they would still have 2 spaces, which is as is required to meet the standard, so they're likely to get permission. I do think that we should still object on the grounds that this we are going to find people with carports where there aren't still 2 spaces there, and then they'll wonder why one's got it and one hasn't. So I think we should object and let Swale make the decision.
Thank you. Any other comments? So we are proposing Councillor Williams to object, Councillor Martin to second. Can we all vote on that? Thank you. 2150, 1540, full, 20 Sherwood Close. Demolition of existing garage and shed and erection of single-storey side and rear extensions, including 2 new bow windows to the front and extension to existing vehicular crossover. This is what we sent back, didn't we? So these are revised details. Any comment? They have revised the details, so I don't see a great issue with it. Does anyone else have any comments on it? I think the windows are fine. Are we proposed Councillor Williams?
I propose no objection I can't see any further reason to object.
Thank you. I would second that. And can we all vote on that? Yeah. Thank you. Right, 2150 1937 full and 2150 1939 LBC, the Coach House, 87B South Road, Faversham. Erection of a garden shed. I'm sure in years gone by, we just did that. I think about 30 years ago, we put a shed up, took a shed down, and now you've got to ask, oh, right, in case it blocks someone. Has anyone...
We had no objection to the previous application that was for a larger shed.
Wasn't it? Yeah, so were we happy with that?
I'm proposed no objection on this one.
Thank you. I would second that. Can we all vote on that? (2150) 1966 LBC, the Town Hall, 12 Marketplace.
Madam Mayor, we can't, as we are the applicant, we can't comment.
No,
So
the
we leave.
town clerk has asked me to list this on the occasion.
Sorry?
The town clerk has asked me to list this application on this occasion and would like a comment.
Right.
It's not on the system, but the conservation officer has requested that we have one poll instead of two, but the town clerk would like two, really, because it's civic building and she feels it's appropriate. And also on health and safety, it's safer. The access points for two flags either side of the windows is actually safer for who's doing the flag rather than one central.
Yep, that makes sense. Anyone else? Any comment? Councillor Perkins?
I would.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, can I ask a question? Is one of these flag poles one of the flag poles that has to have the Union Jack on it all the time, or is that no? Okay, that's my only question. Should we all declare non-pecuniary interest?
I think it hasn't been decided exactly what flags would be flying on the flag poles.
Okay,
and
and
possibly to like 20's Plenty and Pride at the time.
Yeah.
Which means we'd always be able to fly the Jack on the Guildhall.
Yeah, and should we all really declare non-pecuniary interests? I feel like everyone should. So everyone's got a non-pecuniary interest. I am happy to propose no objection.
I'd second that.
I would go further. I would say I would propose support on the grounds that two is much more. I prefer the aesthetics of the two rather than the one on that.
Yeah, it does. It does.
One just looks. I don't know. It does look very odd when you've got a frontage with two columns, whereas two takes that, comes up. It just matches the symmetry of the building so much better. So I'd actually propose we support it.
Do we support that? Do all of us support that?
And the health and safety, which isn't the planning, but
yes, as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
2150 2029 full land adjoining 82 London Road. Erection of detached two-storey dwelling with accommodation in roof space, including creation of associated parking and new vehicle access. Anyone, any comments? Councillor Martin.
Yeah, I've looked at this one for a while, and I think the only reason I would object, and I think we should object, is because of the impact on the street scene. It's just not. Somehow that building just doesn't look right in that particular place, and I think that if we object now, then we may end up with a better design. It's the odd heights, you know, compared to everything else along that street. It looks like the additional height just doesn't work.
And there's a letter from neighbours, isn't there, as well? They're around in Mountfield. They're objecting. John Gates. Yeah. Here's Mountfield. He would object.
Madam Mayor, Councillor Kavanagh is waving his hand.
Sorry, Councillor Kavanagh.
So I actually went and visited the site, and I spoke to the neighbours that had complained, and they didn't object to the original plan because it was just on 2 stories, which, as Councillor Martin said, matched all of the rest of the street scene. But the addition of the fenestration on what would be the 3rd floor definitely impinges on their privacy. So on the privacy aspect alone, I would definitely suggest that we object.
Thank you. Any other comments or a seconder for that objection? Councillor Martin?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Shall we vote on that? Thank you.
You're objecting on 2 points, the street
Yeah,
and
the
privacy
height.
of the neighbours.
The height particularly, isn't it? Yeah.
Thank you.
2150.
First and who second, sorry?
Sorry.
I seconded.
Yes, Councillor Martin.
Seconded.
That's-
Mm-hmm.
Who
yeah.
proposed?
Councillor
Councillor Kavanagh.
Thank you.
2150, 2063 full, 9 Priory Row, proposed drop curb. I didn't see any issue with that. Councillor Perkin.
Can I propose that we support that, please?
Absolutely. I would second that. Can we all vote on that? Thank you. 24 Provender
I
Walk.
think recently we supported one, but we made a comment about, what would be the word, Councillor Williams?
I think it was, well, it was to do with drainage, as in
Yeah.
like obviously if it's too much of a hard surface, the permeability.
Semi-permeable surface.
Yeah, so that's a good point actually. Yeah, semi.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, we'll put that. Thank you. Yeah, 24 Provender Walk, Belvedere, 2150, 2153 full, conversion of garage into habitable space. Abbey Ward. Any comments on this? Of course, this has happened in many houses now, hasn't it?
This is part of the actual design of the house, though, isn't it? It's a lower floor within a closed terrace rather than a garage to the side.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Any comments?
If I may, Madam Mayor, it is also in a flood zone, so
This is it.
I believe the original design was to put the garages underneath in the way they did, so that people didn't get flooded out. I am a little concerned to see that people are wishing to make that into a habitable space when actually being in the flood zone, it may not be a habitable space. I will let others correct me if they think that I'm wrong there on that one.
We should check that. Any other comments? Councillor Williams.
I think the flood in concern is an issue. I suppose the only thing I would say is I guess the houses already are in a flood risk area, so I suppose it's whether the conversion makes it any worse for the people that live there. I mean, I'm not sure if anyone else along there has done a similar thing or not, but clearly it seems to be quite a common thing in garages and habitable spaces. So I couldn't. I'm minded to that we don't object, but I'll be guided by others and what they think.
Councillor Martin.
I would think we should object due to the risk of flooding, because it would actually make the property unmortgageable. So it would actually deny a property at a later date unless it was a cash sale. And I think on those grounds alone, we have a good planning reason to object. So I propose we object.
Thank you. Have we got a seconder for that proposal? Councillor Kavanagh. And could we all vote on that? I think that's a valid suggestion. We've got 1, 2, 3 not voting, so
I'm
going to abstain if that's okay.
abstain. Yes.
And I'm also abstaining.
Abstain. And Councillor Williams?
Abstain.
Thank you. So can we leave it like that?
Probably not on 3-all, I would imagine.
No, it's not actually going to carry, is it? So can we come up with a...
I would ask the Deputy Town Clerk on that, because their abstention is not
Yeah, as long as the meeting's Cora, each application doesn't have to be.
Thank you.
Right.
In that case, that's our, that we object on
That's an
those grounds. then.
objection.
Thank you. We've probably got just a few more minutes. 2150, 2197 LBC, 46 West Street, listed building consent for removal of an angled internal plasterboard wall, installation of new straight plasterboard wall.
Councillor Martin.
Councillor,
I propose no objection to that. It's a stud wall. It's not
Yeah.
part of the original features.
no. Have we got a seconder for that? Councillor Perkin, can we all vote on that? Oh, that is unanimous, thank you. 2150, 2240 full, and then 2150, 2241 LBC, Fountain House, 114 West Street. Change of use of restaurant to a single dwelling, including demolition of existing rear.
Forwarded an email on this one because the description had changed since it was first validated.
Right. And it's
If I
part,
may, Madam Mayor, if I jump in on this one, what they now say is that the restaurant, and it'll be a change to the kitchen and restaurant, but that would remain, and then the demolition of the rear extension and internal and external alterations to accommodate the housing. Given that change, I would propose no objection.
I would definitely like to second that. Councillor Perkin.
I'm just going to abstain from this because I haven't seen their different,
No.
if that's okay.
I have spoken to the owners. Actually, I didn't go to them. They just came and sat when I was having coffee, and they're great. And apparently, the extension that was put on at the back is really not of good quality. So they want to replace that. They have a son who's now an adult, but as a child had some serious illness, which means he'll never get a driving license. They're really wanting to make it the home for him and them. So I certainly don't have any objection. So can we vote on that? Who proposed? Councillor Martin. I would second. Can we vote on that? Thank you. And do we have time for one more before we've all got to run from home? Councillor Rowland, are you actually in the Alexander Centre? Oh, great. Well, we'll all come on board and see what we can do next time. Shall we just try for one more here? 2150, 2465, full, 3 Worcester Close, Faversham, erection of a single part 2-storey rear extension with associated landscaping works to the rear garden. Councillor Williams.
I would propose no objection. It seems that like a lot of these houses that are in that part of the town, they've got plenty of space. It doesn't seem to provoke or cause any problems. So
No, the garage is at the bottom of the garden. So
I've got that printed off. It looks very good. Yeah, happy to second that. No objection, second that. Could we all vote on that? Thank you. Deputy Clerk, should we stop there, and then how do we deal with the 1, 2, 3 that we haven't dealt with tonight?
Well, we can see when they're listed. We can see when the date is rather for the deadline and see if we can relist them. Or I don't know if you can just agree. I mean, the next one, I would think you'd have no objection to anyway, because it's timber double glazed.
I think we could probably deal with that because I've looked at that. I did live there. Yeah, replacement of 2 existing timber sash windows and 1 casement window with timber double glazed windows to appear like for like. That's Castlock Street. It's on the corner there. Councillor Martin.
Yeah, I propose no objection.
Absolutely, I would second that. Having done that, so could we all vote on that one? That looks absolutely fine. Thank you. 42 Preston Grove is a little more involved. I think we'll be late if we,
Okay.
Councillor Martin.
I was going to propose no objection to that one. It's all actually very
It is,
sensible, and it's all
absolutely, yeah.
appears to be in line with appropriate standards. So I would
All the
pose no
line.
objection.
Exactly.
Could I sort of throw in there? I wonder if we could change it to support, because I just think they've gone above and beyond what they could do with that building, and they're putting
What?
solar panels
Preston
up.
Street, yeah, I mean, Preston
Preston
Grove.
Grove. Okay, yeah, I'll
We
I'll
support
second that, Chris.
I would vote on supporting it. I looked at that last night and vote, so thank you. So we've only got 88 Faversham Road. Removal of existing timber side outbuilding and erection of single-storey rear and side extensions. So obviously they're taking down a timber and then putting an extension. Have we had the time to look at that? Councillor Perkin?
I was just going to propose no objection because a number of other houses on Atherstone Road have done something fairly similar.
They have, you're absolutely right.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councillor Martin. Can we vote on that then? Thank you. Right. Thank you very much, everyone, and see you all in a few minutes. Josh,